It's about Man United.
Hello everybody, welcome to another episode of the Red Devils Disciples. I'm Rob here with you today, aka Dad Bod Man, but that's for a different channel, but I'll be updating you all on that pretty soon. A little late to the party with Team of the Year. It was released on Wednesday, and it's taken me till today to present this video to you guys. I think it's one of those where it's such a big event in world football that it's a discussion I do want to have, and I'm going to talk about the actual Team of the Year that was released by FIFA, as well as present to you my Team of the Year, and then probably talk about the best men's player of 2023 and the award, who it went to, and why I think it's a bit controversial that it went to this player. So first of all, let me just show you over here the actual Team of the Year. So you can see it's got a formation which is a bit of a strange one. I've gone with a 3-3-4, quite dominant in attacking. And for a team, it's probably not something you'd see very often in football. Personally, I would go with more of a 4-3-3 formation, and it's what I've chosen for my team. So if we go about it, we can compare my players and decision why I chose them, along with the Team of the Year itself. So first of all, you've got your goalkeeping position, and I'm actually going with Marc-Andre ter Stegen. I feel it's important to mention that Ederson and Courtois could have equally been chosen by myself, but I think Ederson, had a tremendous year. Man City won the treble. It was one of those things where, as a team, they performed extremely well, and you should see a lot of Man City players within this team. But in this case, I'm going to have to go to either Thibaut Courtois or Marc ter Stegen. And the reason that I would go with both of them, if you look at them statistically, they're almost identical when it comes to minutes played, matches, save percentage, team wins. Even their win-loss, draw and loss record is pretty much identical, with one difference in there. The big difference between both players, I guess, is Thibaut Courtois is obviously a monster of a man at 6'7" and claims a lot more crosses, or has a higher crossing interception percentage, whereas ter Stegen is better with his feet at the long passes. Short passes, ironically, they are very similar in terms of percentage for 2023. However, when it came to long passes, ter Stegen was clearly much better, with almost double the percentage that Thibaut Courtois had. I think one of the big things that would explain Thibaut Courtois being better, intercepting more crosses, apart from the fact that he's bigger, is the fact that obviously Real Madrid, I was about to say Man City there. Real Madrid are a team that, has very explosive wing backs that overlap consistently and bombard forward, as well as their left and right wingers bombarding forward at the same time. They're a very offensive team. But what that means is that Barcelona, on the flip side, who are more sort of tiki-taka, sticking to their origins and what their personality, I suppose, as a team is, or the tactics as a team, because in these teams, Real Madrid and Barcelona, you don't play to a manager's ideals, you play to the team's ideals, which is something that I think every team should do, and something that Manchester United is probably severely lacking, and has been severely lacking since Fergie left. But with these two teams, because Ancelotti bombards, it leaves the team defensively open on the wings, which is why I think it's one of those where you look at the goals conceded. Barcelona have conceded far less goals to Real Madrid throughout the year, and that is because they leave themselves open when they bombard forward. But at the flip side, they do tend to have a very similar win percentage. It's just a much lower goal conceded ratio that they have per game at Barcelona. And I think if you look at both teams, they performed extremely well. So I could have gone with either one. Barcelona won the La Liga last year, not the Copa del Rey. Copa del Rey was actually won by Real Madrid, and then the Supercopa, which is basically the equivalent to their Community Shield, but in differences in Spain, the Community Shield, or the Supercopa, is something that is seen as a massive game locally. It's almost like a big rival derby for them between the two best teams in theory in their nation. But purely because of the passing, I've ended up going with ter Stegen, just because I feel like if I was a manager, I would want a goalkeeper that can play with his feet a lot better than someone that couldn't. And you look at the way that Barcelona play, which is sort of pass the ball, keep possession. I feel like he's perfectly suited to them. And for Man United, the way that Ten Hag wants to play, this would be a perfect goalkeeper to have, or someone of this ilk. So we move on to our centre backs. You can see I've gone with Ruben Diaz. I mean, I think he's probably been the best centre back in the world, other than potentially Virgil van Dijk a few years ago. But the difference is Van Dijk sort of fell off last year. Obviously, he had a few injuries, and then this year he started a bit wobbly, but is looking like he's back now. But Ruben Diaz himself has been consistently one of the best centre backs in the world for the last 4 years, and has basically nailed down that Man City starting position at centre back and has made himself indispensable to the club. They did win a treble last year, and I think that also has to be taken into account. Not only is he great at, great with the ball itself. He's that treble means that he's got a Premier League, a Champions League, and an FA Cup to his name in the CEO of 2023. So I think it's kind of hard to look past him. He was absolutely vital for Man City last year. And then next to him, I've gone with King Min Jae. I think it's one of those where I could have gone Saliba. I think Saliba, honourable mention, because I think he had a great year last year. And this was the one position that could have flipped between people, or I could have gone John Stones. I think if Saliba hadn't got injured and Arsenal went on to win the league, he probably would have made this team. I do think that John Stones, however, was it was a toss up between John Stones and Kim Min Jae. The reason I chose Kim Min Jae is because John Stones played a lot of games out of position in centre mid, so almost in the holding centre defensive mid position at times. He also played a couple of games at right back, and he didn't quite hold down the centre back position, where Kim Min Jae led Napoli to the first Scudetto in 33 years, and that's quite a big achievement for Napoli. It's 33 years since they won the Serie A, and it's one of those where I think it cannot be undervalued looking at Napoli this year versus last year, the impact that this central defender had on them. It was the key to in their spine, essentially. At the same time, I also have looked at him at Bayern Munich, and he's just a beast of a central defender, and I'm really gutted as a Man United fan that we missed out on him during the summer. This guy is dominating in the air, and his pass percentage is absolutely amazing for a centre back. And I think that it's one of those where, had we signed him, we would have had a great centre back in our spine, and I think we would have more central defenders playing out from the back, which is ultimately where we want to get to. Moving on from there, at wing back and right back. Moving on to wing backs, I've gone with Alphonso Davies at left back, and I've gone with Kyle Walker at right back. Reason for Alphonso Davies is he has got 11 assists in the calendar year. He's ranked fifth in terms of chances, in terms of assists, should I say, sorry, for Bayern Munich, and in the fourth in terms of chances created. That Bayern Munich team is a very attacking team with a lot of talent going forward and a lot of great passes on the ball. So I feel to be ranked in the top five in that team, especially as a defender, is quite an achievement. And at left back, I did have a few honourable mentions. I could have, Andy Robertson is someone who's up there as one of the best left backs in the world. Unfortunately, he's not been performing to the heights that he has in the past, which is a bit of a shame. But he is a great left back. But this year, I think he just misses out. You've also got Hernandez, plays for Milan. And I think he is another one that's had a good season. The same as DiMarco from Inter Milan. And DiMarco has been great this year, should I say, because you look at Inter Milan this year, they're first in the league, they're dominating there, they're doing really well. I think he could easily have made this team, but I've chosen Alphonso Davies in the end because I think he's the best left back in the world. At right back, I've gone with Kyle Walker. I don't think there's many choices of right backs that I would have competing with him for that right back position this year. There was talk of Trent potentially winning it, but to be honest with you, Trent had such a poor start to last season, just defensively, that I feel he loses out to Kyle Walker. And Kyle Walker didn't have the greatest start in the world either last season, but the difference between Trent and Kyle Walker is real simple. Kyle Walker has a treble with Man City, and with the game against Paris Saint-Germain, where him and Mbappe basically went head to head for the whole game, stands out for me. And just the way that he ultimately pretty much cancelled Mbappe out of the game, or cancelled his effect on the game, during that match, and I think it led to Man City going through in the Champions League when they played them. Um, and apart from that, I think he's also someone who is, yeah, he's going on, getting on in years. He's a little bit older than the others, but I also think he's just a physical specimen. Like, he's quick, he's strong, he's not scared to get in there and use his body, which I think for a wing back is incredible. And then he gets forward and he gets back. He never, he doesn't fail to track back. He'll always track back, if you know what I mean. Um, Moving on from there, we have Jude Bellingham and Rodri underneath, in the holding mid and the midfield position. I think Rodri is pretty self-explanatory. He's probably the best defensive midfielder in the world at the moment, almost doing a role for Man City that someone like Sergio Busquets would have done a few years ago for Barcelona. And I think it's one of those things where you look at him, he is the best player in the world in that position. That's not even a discussion. And as a Man United fan, it kills me to say that. But the guy is amazing at winning aerial duels. His passing range is pretty good. His short passing is better than his long passing, but he still gets it around and spreads the ball, and he rarely makes mistakes on that. You also got to look into the 22-23 season. He had 7 assists and 4 goals, and then so far this year he's even stepped it up even further with 5 goals, 5 assists, and we're not even, or we just passed the halfway mark, should I say. But I think the fact that he's already hit the numbers that he did for the whole of last season, half the season here, plus the treble that he was instrumental in, I think it's one of those where Rodri has to be in the squad. And then next to him, I put Jude Bellingham. I mean, what can I say about Jude Bellingham other than he's one of the best young talents in the world? For Borussia Dortmund, he had 14 goals and 7 assists last year. So he did very well. And then he's come to Madrid and he stepped it up to another level. He's got 17 goals, 6 assists this year. But I think more than that, he's been the missing piece to the Real Madrid team, in my opinion. I think that with him him in the squad, Madrid are going to go to higher levels than they have been recently, and he's at a very young age too. So I think he's only going to get better with time. Moving on to just in front of them, I'm playing Kevin De Bruyne. I think you've got to objectively look at Kevin De Bruyne as probably the best midfielder in the world. And that is the biggest compliment I can give him. He had 9 goals and 18 assists from midfield last season. Yes, unfortunately, this year he's not had an extended run of games. He got injured in the Charity Shield after 20 minutes and got subbed off. But he came back against Newcastle last week, and you saw that he had a goal and assist straight away. And to come back into football at the Premier League after having 4 months off, or almost 4 months off, score a goal and assist and lead your team to victory against one of the top teams in the Premier League. I think you've got to recognise the talent that he has. One of the things I would say here, obviously, Team of the Year's team selected Jude Bellingham, similar to I did, and Kevin De Bruyne, but they selected Bernardo Silva instead of Rodri. It could have gone either way with them. I think Bernardo Silva is an amazing player. I think he brings a special entity to that Man City team, almost like David Silva used to do previously. So it could have easily gone there instead of Rodri. However, for a bit of balance in my team, I thought one holding midfielder, Bellingham can push forward, come back. If this was a real team, this is who I would have chosen. As my front two, I've gone with Kylian Mbappe and Erling Haaland. To be fair, the third person is a striker too that I picked for up front, but Kylian Mbappe is such a talent at the end of the day. He scored 52 goals in last year in 2023. He is someone that pushes the ball forward every opportunity he gets. He's quick. He hits on the break. Once he's at speed, there's hardly anybody that can stop him. There's one player that is the only player that I think that has gone head to head with him and won, and that is Kyle Walker. Other than that, I haven't seen another player go head to head with them and won. If there is somebody that you think has won in head to head, please comment below and let me know. I would love to look into that. But I think Kylian Mbappe, apart from his popularity, I think he has to be in this squad. Yes, he plays in the Ligue 1, which is a bit of a weaker league than the Premier League, but he also does it in the Champions League, and he does it for France. So I think he deserves his respect too. And alongside him, I put Erling Haaland, who led Man City to the treble. What more can I say about this guy other than he scored 50 goals for Man City for his national team? and Norway. Before you say I don't know it, and then it's one of those where the guy is playing in the top leagues against the top teams. He then dominated in the Champions League too, and it was a direct reason why Man City did the treble last year. He was essentially their main man. And then alongside them, I put in Harry Kane. I think Harry Kane, yes, he did start the season at Spurs and transferred over to Bayern. He scored more goals for. He's got a higher scoring ratio, should I say, for Bayern Munich than he did for Spurs. But again, that can be explained with a couple of different ways. For example, the Bundesliga is probably not as strong as the Premier League, but also you got to acknowledge that Bayern Munich is a much better team than Spurs is at the moment. They are much more dominant in every game that they play, and they provide better service to him. So it could be either or both as a factor to the reason why he's got more goals for Bayern than he did for Spurs, or higher scoring ratio, should I say. And he had 52 goals. How can you leave him out? There is one more thing I want to mention here. As we move forward, the best men's player award by FIFA went to Lionel Messi for 2023. Now, this is a bit controversial. Lionel Messi has not had one of his best seasons like he previously did. He scored around 30 goals, if I remember off the top of my head. I think it's one of those, we played in Ligue 1 and went to the MLS, and I don't feel like for 2023 he was the best player. I would have actually given it to someone like Erling Haaland or even De Bruyne. I think it's one of those where Messi, unfortunately, is so or fortunately for him, but unfortunately for pure football fans, is so popular in world football that people will blindly follow and vote for him. Now, you need to factor in that the World Cup was in 2022, so actually doesn't count for 2023 and shouldn't be counted in this award. He's not really won much. He's won the Ligue 1, and then he went to the MLS, and he's been injured for a lot of time. And I know you could compare it to De Bruyne, but De Bruyne was way more successful than Messi. I mean, if you want to talk about a debate on the classic debate, Messi versus Ronaldo, if we compare those two, for example, in last year, Ronaldo, versus Messi, and here we go. We have 44 games for Lionel Messi, 59 games for Cristiano Ronaldo. There's 28 goals by Messi, so that's an average of 0.64 goals per game. And then Ronaldo had 52 goals, so 0.92 goals per game. Now, while Ronaldo played more games, he also scored a third more goals per game, and it's 52 to 28. Assist-wise, Messi had 12, Ronaldo had 15. Again, if you look at the minutes per game, Ronaldo had higher assist ratios, and I know Ronaldo's playing in the Saudi League. I'm not oblivious to that. But if you objectively look at it, the MLS is ranked 29th in terms of the strongest leagues in the world, and the Saudi League is only ranked 36. So it's not that big of a difference in terms of quality from both leagues. You look at the pens, because I know people will say Penaldo, which I get it. He scored 15 penalties. Free kicks, Messi had 5. Ronaldo had 3. Messi, obviously, as a free kick taker, is outstanding. Ronaldo hadn't taken free kicks for a long time, but then slowly started to take more free kicks as he's getting older. Outside the box, Messi has 5. Ronaldo has 6. I think what the big difference between both players is that inside the box, Messi only had 18. I say only, as if it's a minor thing. It's still a great achievement. And Ronaldo had 30. So it shows the vast difference in terms of in the box threat that Ronaldo has. And obviously Ronaldo is a physical presence. He is taller, stronger, jumps higher. I would say he's losing his speed as his age gets along. He is 38 years old. But objectively speaking, you cannot tell me that Lionel Messi is the best player in the world, and Cristiano Ronaldo, with these stats, wasn't even nominated or thought of within that bracket in the team. Now, do I think either of them should have got the best player award? No, I do not. I go back to my original statement. I think Erling Haaland should have won it. And then if not him, I would have gone with De Bruyne. I get why De Bruyne wouldn't with the injury, so I would have started with Haaland, is what I would say. But guys, again, thank you very much for listening in. If you're still here, I appreciate you. Please don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and turn on notifications. And I'll bring you more videos like this in the future. If you have any ideas for videos, please don't hesitate to comment in the comments below. That's what I meant to say. And let me know what your ideas for the videos that you would like are. Obviously, I will be going more traditional moving forward to more Man United style videos, but every now and then I will throw in videos like this, which is something completely off center and something completely different. Have a lovely evening. Goodbye.